I'll tell you one thing, being stuck in town is pretty awful. Barely tolerable, really. This is one thing about staying in the cheaper hostel. It's $15 a night, but I'm not allowed to be there during the day. And I understand they want their time or whatever, but it's raining outside. It was worse earlier. You could see a lot of water running down the street. And just came from the pizza place and was sitting on the front porch of the ATC again. But if you want to go do stuff all day, you got to walk down this road all the way down there. And this is looking out level. It's pretty steep. And I'm going to have to come all the way back up. It's like a mile or something like that. So, you know, and I know that the one chick is there. And I guess they want their time and their privacy or whatever during the day. But it's almost worth it to pay the $40 and be down in the town and not have to walk back and forth all day. Once I'm down here, I'm committed to stay for a few hours because I don't want to have to walk back and forth and hurt my leg. The point is to rest. So if I'm not allowed to be inside, like why am I staying up there? So I might stay here tonight since my stuff is in the house and everything, and tomorrow I might move down here and just say whatever about it, you know. I like that it's cheap up there, but it's not, you know, if I'm not allowed to stay inside all day, I'll go ahead and I'll pay more, you know. That's like, just spending the night is different than having to have a place to hang out all day, so. Hi, kitty. You look a little mangy. Sweet though. Day 2 of recovery. The knee seems to be healing quickly. So my question of the day for any subscribers that are watching this is, why are these clips so worthless on ace bandages? I was an EMT for a while, and I was always struck by just how terrible those clips are. The little metal teeth snap, and once they break, you're in trouble. There's nothing else to use. I've always thought that they should come with like 2 really heavy-duty safety pins. So I'm gonna take my morning ibuprofen, and then I'm probably...
Did you get one yet?
Yeah, I fed him.
Jumping onto your camera.
I fed him a little. There was a gnat biting me. I killed it and I gave it to him and he picked it up. And I got a video of him jumping on it and catching it.
What?
Day 3 of recovery. The leg is feeling excellent. Just need to keep being gentle with it today, and I think we'll be good to go in the next 24 hours or so. So I'm just gonna go back to the ATC, hang out again, and then go eat lunch at the Italian place. So I was able to finally get the number for the ortho doc, and she's nice enough to come out here even though it's a little out of her way. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna pay you or whatever. And she said, well, like, when I saw you the other day, I worked on the girls for free, so I feel kind of weird working on you for money. I said, yeah, but you're coming out here. And she's like, well, if you end up paying me, then it gets a little more complicated because then, like, it's more formal and all this stuff. And I was like, and I don't know if that means that it'll cost a lot or if it means that it'll be like I have to sign waivers and things, or that it's like a service is being provided. It's like more complicated for I don't know. So I feel kind of weird about it, but I tried to tell her that like if tomorrow works better, I wanted to make sure that she knew that like I wanted to do it on her schedule, or if like she couldn't do it, that's fine, you know. But she's like, you know, she wants to come out and help, and I'm glad for that. That's really cool. A little bit after the fact here, I've decided that it's a really good idea to just go ahead and pay her. She wanted to work for free, but I think it's a little unreasonable. She worked on me for almost 3 hours, as you'll see. So I'm gonna send her some cash in the mail and send her a copy of my book that she was interested in. So I think that, you know, she might not really want me to do it, but I think that it'll be good because she can go help other hikers out. I just feel like it's the right thing to do. I really should have asked for her to look at my leg the other day when she was willing to look at it, and that would have been easier for everybody. But you know, just being stubborn and or being, you know, my mom says being prideful, being like, no, I'm fine, I feel better, you know, and not like having the foresight to be like, maybe it's an injury. I don't know. I just haven't had experience with it, I guess. So I don't really know what's going on with it. One thing I'm worried about is that she's going to be like, hey, you know, this is what I was saying the other day, but I think that she might say something like, you know, your knee is pretty bad, you need to go to the specialist and get them to look at it and like maybe do work on your tendon or something like that. Like that's like worst case scenario, obviously, that like I could be told that like I shouldn't hike anymore this season, or that I should, you know, get it worked on or something before I go back out there. But again, that's exactly why I'm doing this. This is exactly why I'm taking the zero, is I just want to make sure that it doesn't become something bigger than it is, because it's easy for those injuries to happen. And I know in the last video I harped on this plenty, but that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just hanging out in town, and I'm just putting the time in to make sure that I'm okay before I go out and end my season, you know? But anyway, it's a beautiful day here. It's been intermittently very sunny, scattered clouds and stuff, giving some shade every once in a while. Got a little sunburned, sitting and talking to an Australian man named Moose, who has been hiking the last 2 seasons. He's finishing off, like I am, what he hasn't hiked yet. And he's going from here to Katahdin this year. But today has been full of good conversations with hikers. I met some friendly Germans. I met up with a hiker I met the other day, and I got invited down for drinks. And I sat and spoke with a hiker named S'mores and a hiker named Professor. So there have been a lot of hiker interactions, and I've just been hanging out and practicing some camera work, seeing how the macro lens works on some stuff. Ended up getting a really cool shot that you saw of the spider. And I'm just going to do some film work, go back through my blog and Instagram and YouTube account and respond to comments and check and see what the analytics look like for the day, and just kind of try to keep on top of stuff while I have the time to do it. Make sure that all the descriptions look good for the videos, and make sure that everything's linked to other videos and stuff so that the cards work and the subscription buttons pop up. But yeah, it's not a bad day to be stuck in Harpers Ferry for an injury for sure. All right, you get a shake on it. You get a shake on it.
Yeah, right.
They shook on it.
I don't have no surface. Hold on. Get up on it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. $20. That could be a calendar photo shoot. Easiest $20 you ever made.
Yeah, I see. 20 hours. Hey,
Yeah.
I seen that when we was coming up here. I was like, I got to stop.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. Thanks for the entertainment.
So I got your picture in here. What I'm going to do is print it out and then have you guys fill out some information about yourself on the picture.
Sorry, I hope the lighting isn't too terrible here, but I am feeling amazing. I got in contact with the ortho doc, and she came over and worked on me for 3 hours. I'm pretty sure it was 3 hours. She and I had so much fun talking, and I was groaning and grunting a little bit. I've never had anything like that done to me, and I just was like a little hesitant, I guess, and she was like, trust me, I'm a doctor, it's okay. And I was like, okay. And then I let her, sink in and like start getting knots out and stuff, and oh my god. I have range of motion like in my shoulders that like since my car wreck, I didn't even notice really how bad it's been. And my leg feels so much better. And just everything feels good. So she warned me that I would be pretty sleepy tonight, like unreasonably sleepy, because I've never had this work done before and all that tension's gone, so I should pass out pretty hard. And then she said that tomorrow I'm going to be sore as hell, because she said it's like years of stuff that builds up, like from rugby and all this other stuff that I've done. So I'm going to hang out here. I'm going to eat some out of my food bag, and I'm going to take it really easy tomorrow. And then after that, I'll be going out to the trail, and then also the first day out on trail, I'm going to go just to the next shelter. Pretty short day, and just putz around and camp. And great, freaking awesome news. Just poking around my knee, feeling where everything happened, like where it hurt me originally, listening to my story, and she told me that based off everything that she found, there's nothing like bad that happened to my knee, and the preventative aspect of what I'm doing is great, but that like this isn't something that's going to take me off trail. I said, but I have to do the things she showed me today and take care of it myself every day, especially before bed. Make sure that it's well tended to, and preventative, rubbing those knots out with my elbows and with my ankle and stuff, and using those bony projections on my hand and stuff, pounding out the quadriceps, and otherwise my knee is going to get right back to where it was, especially with that aggravating injury that happened. So unbelievable. Anyone coming through Harpers Ferry area, she really knows what she's doing, and she's really good, and she's absolutely 100% just so worth taking the time to see. And one thing that she imparted to me that I think she wanted me to tell you guys is that if you have any injuries on a hike like this, it's important the first day that you're beginning your break to recover to get attention as soon as possible, because that means that your rest period is actually going to be much more effective. So if you rest for 2 days and then you get work done and then you leave the next day, you haven't, because that tightness hasn't gone away, you're still injured. So treat the root cause of the continued pain after your injury, and then have time to recover, if that makes sense. So it makes sense to me. It's kind of like people stretch before they work out, but they don't cool down at the end of the day, and then they wonder why they're so stiff the next morning. You gotta do both, and the cooling down is almost more important. So just unbelievable, great thing. I'm so glad that I took this day and took time to listen to the old bod, and I'm just gonna absolutely park my butt and do what she told me, nothing, and just hang out and rest and drink a load of water. Relatively new pair of socks, and the mice chew holes in them. You can see this. There's a little fawn right here, just hanging out in this corner of this abandoned building. And I don't really know that there's them all around. I'm honestly kind of worried about this fawn. It's really hot in the sun, and I don't think it was left there purposely. So, and there's cars coming through here, and Mom's not going to be brave enough to come and get her, so might call the local authority and just say that it's here, and that, so I'm not trying to scare it into the road or anything, but right there in that nook behind me right there is where the fawn is, and I'm not trying to draw attention to it so someone tries to go over and pet it either. I barely noticed it, and that's what they do, they sit still. But it's just, there's so much going around here. Everyone's in their yards, and people are driving around and walking around. There's gonna be dogs coming up and down the street. So I just don't want it to get like spooked and run out in the street and get hit by a car. So I called the non-emergency line at the police department, and I figured they would come out here, and he said he'd call wildlife, but I'll show him where it is real quick, and then I'll be on my way, because I'm not equipped to deal with it, and I'm not gonna go touch him or anything, you know. He'll get spooked and run off, so. So Mom and baby both ended up going this way, and at least the baby's up off the street. So I don't know where Mom went, probably through that hole in the fence there. At least we know that baby's safe. It's funny, the cop kind of got stuck down in there. I had to pull him up out of the hole. So I went back and reviewed the footage, and I double tapped on the record button. So all I got was this like little 8-second clip of the officer holding the deer at the distance, and I just missed all the footage of the officer walking around like not knowing what to do with the deer, and the deer bleeding, blah, blah, and like the bikers down the road like yelling at the officer like, the mom's over there or whatever, and like him just being like, ugh. And then he puts the deer down, and the little fawn like takes off to the right and like jumps down in this like hole by this abandoned building, and he's like, ah, crap, like instantly knows he's gonna have to go down there. And so like he like in full gear, you know, everything's catching on these brambles and stuff. He's going down into this like abandoned sketchy place, and he's trying to drive the deer out of this like little nook, and then I go around the other way and scare the mom back to the back, where she'll like not scare her but like kind of make her go back there just by like looking at her really, and she goes back to the other side, and I guess they're reunited and everything's okay. But yeah, normally I would say don't touch a deer, don't interfere with them. Hey, thank you, man, that looks awesome. I'll leave him alone. It's not necessarily true that like you touch the deer, the mom won't touch him, but it's like one of those things where like it's wildlife and you should just leave it alone. And then, like, right while that's all happening and the cop gets there, there's this older couple that comes up, and there's like, where's the whatever district, you know, like business district, and they're like, Harpers Ferry. I'm like, it's down there. And they're like, no, we just came from there. We know that's Harpers Ferry, but where's Harpers Ferry? I'm like, what are you talking about? So they pull the map out. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, keep going down this road, you know. And they're like, well, how much further? And I was like, you know, it's a little bit. I think you're about here. You're probably like a third of the way. And lovely. And they're like, okay. And he looks at me and he goes, well, I'm diabetic. I'm like, you're diabetic? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I need he's like, do you have any candy? I'm like, I don't really carry candy. He's like, chocolate? And I was like, I got chocolate. And I was like, you have your insulin too or whatever? He's like, no insulin. I was like, so you're type 2 or whatever? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. And so, you know, whip open the food bag, pull out some Gorp, and pick all the chocolates out of the Gorp and hand it to him, and he wouldn't take more than a few. He's like, no, it's for you. I said, like, I'm not the one who's gonna fall out. But I'm walking down behind him here. I'm gonna be in town here at the other hostel, so I can actually sit. The lady that worked on my leg, the doctor, she said not to do anything today. So, I mean, I'm trying not to. I'm walking down here. That was all I was planning on doing. Now I'm, you know, doing pulling cops out of holes and stuff. So I just ran into S'mores. You can probably see him walking away behind me. It's one of the guys I talked to yesterday. I sent him over to the Townsend whatever place that I'm going right now, because I knew that they had work for stay and he was looking for it. And he's like, yeah, she had me move a bunch of boxes around, and then I got paid $10 to try pizza and to try ice cream. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, she wanted me to sample it or whatever. So he got paid to taste test. I was like, man, I should have gone over there. But Anyway, so that's pretty funny. I'm glad that worked out. I am just, dude, the longer I spend in Harpers Ferry, the more I like it. It's pretty cool. It's been a good day. So now I've gotten down here again to the, what is it, the Town Inn? I always forget the name, I'm sorry. The Town's Inn. And I think I'm going to claim that bed right here. This part of the room is a little bit more, ventilated near this front door. So I plan on hanging out here all day, just doing nothing, maybe picking on that guitar and watching some Amazon, Netflix, whatever. There's a whole big bookshelf. I've got no excuse to be bored today. Board games and things, and if I go get food, I can put it in the mini fridge. Like, this is excellent. So, you can stay in the cheaper hostel when you get into a town, but you got to really ask questions. Am I allowed to hang out today if I want to take 0, or am I going to get kicked out? Like, you look at the variety of little hangout spaces here. Like, if you just wanted to chill all day, that would be perfect. You could just get in there and sleep. But here's where I slept the other night, and just kind of neat, like, you look at the ceiling, it's all decorative, and that was my little nook and little bathroom here. I'll show you, this is kind of funny. This looks like I built it. It's just a shower curtain and the toilet and the shower right next to each other, like on a boat. But it's a nice little space, and you definitely, that's the thing with hostels, is usually you'll get what you pay for. The only exception will be Laurel Hostel, or I guess what they call Hiker's Paradise. Not. But yeah, this is a really nice little place, and I don't think it would have been, 100% the right thing to do to stay. I think I would have, overstayed my welcome pretty quick, 3 days here, but the other place, they had no one else coming in. Otherwise they would have been empty and they wouldn't have made anything. So I ate some fruit a little while ago from the chiropractor yesterday. I ate the rest of it, and so I think probably in an hour or so I'll probably go over and get something more substantial to eat down the way. It's pretty nice being right here because I don't have to walk around very far, and I don't have to worry about stressing anything out. Today's supposed to be a rest day, so this location's actually perfect. I will say though, it does seem a little moldy. So as it turns out, this place was actually on Gordon Ramsay's Hotel Hell. And I'll show you a little clip.
That is crazy. I've never met such a basket case like this in all my life. The place is cluttered, and it's almost like her belongings are everywhere. You turn left or right, there's either a basket or an item of Karen's clothing. What is that?
So there's that. I'm gonna chill here on the front porch, and instead of staying in there all day. Ooh, there's an ice cream spot right across the street. I figure if I had had more sense, I would have done a little walking beer tour of North Carolina. This is the Search for the Elusive Sasquatch, the Wild Trail APA, Greenbrier Valley Brewing Company. It's 5.7. It's a beautiful can. Pretty good. Pretty light. See just a little splash of a hard pour there. Pretty foamy. Doesn't that just look awful? I'll tell you one thing, being stuck in town is pretty awful. Barely tolerable, really.
I made one and I